Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, my name is Brandon. I am the founder of the Rags to Riches community. In fact, I'm the CEO. I'm the master and commander and the supreme Ayatollah. And today we've got a very special guest, TheLongVacation. How you doing, buddy? How's life?
Doing fantastic. It's crazy busy, but it's wonderful to be back and get to hang out with you, chop it up a little bit about PowerCity.
Yeah, PowerCity, man. That's what everybody's here for today. And I want to give you guys a disclosure, everybody in chat. If you've watched me before, you've heard this before, but it's important to talk about. When I talk to these projects for the first time, I just want to say that the purpose of this channel is to bring projects on record. And let's face it, there's a lot of scams out there. Rags to Riches is the people's channel. This channel can be the first filter for project founders to come forward into the town square and put their project on record in front of everybody. And I believe in y'all's ability as investors to pretty much make your own educated decisions. So I wanted to say that, and also wanted to say that I was offered how much money to be on here today, LongVacation?
Other than a cocktail, if we ever get a chance to meet face to face, zero.
Cool.
But my utmost respect and appreciation.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So we're going to dive right into this. People's time is very, very valuable. What in the real hell is PowerCity, man? Talk to me about
it. Well, first of all, I just want to give a shout out to Sandy B. Nice to see you in the crowd there. Haven't seen in a long time. But what is PowerCity? PowerCity is a new ecosystem of dApps that we are planning to launch on Pulse Chain. It's a series of applications that are designed to work together synergistically. I know that's a term that's usually overused here, but it truly is being used in the proper way in this case, that are designed to work very closely together and blend each other together across Pulse Chain to build a better experience for both the community and developers alike. We have multiple projects that we'll be building over time. We have a few that we're focusing on first. We have the PowerCity core, which is our initial kind of a staking environment where you would be able to stake our Watt token. And the core will then invest in, build, and launch other dApps within the ecosystem that will include the Transformer cross-chain swap, the Pixel Park NFT marketplace, the Energy Nodes as a Service platform, and the accelerator yield compounder. And then moving on beyond that into Metaverse 3D experiences within our PowerCity, which is a real 3D city model that we have that eventually you'll be able to explore with your friends in a shared environment in 3D and VR and whatnot. So that's a long list of things that we want to do. The goal here is that Pulse Chain is going to revolutionize things. We're going to be just creating a new environment here for so many people who are just being choked to death by Ethereum fees. And we want to build good dApps that we want to also use as people who sacrificed and participated in Pulse Chain and the planning for it and whatnot. We want to use these types of tools on chain. We're not willing to wait for some of these other big teams from Ethereum to come and build that. We figured, why don't we as the community go and create the things that we want and also create them in a way that will add value to the community and put the community first versus venture capital backing or other things that we see in crypto typically.
Cool. So we'll get back to that. So you're using the word we. When you say the word we, who are you referring to?
Other than the royal we, me, myself, and I, no. We have a fantastic group of 11 guys that are working together, plus some additional developers who are contributing to the strategy, design, building, marketing, promotion, you name it, the community administration of all aspects of these projects. So, we have one person who's working on the 3D modeling for PowerCity and building out the meta concepts. We have another person who's designing the yield compounder right now. We have another person focusing on the node design. Someone else is modeling out how the core will operate, and so on. So a lot of people working, kind of, heading their own projects, but we all come together and collaborate on a lot of things. And you'll see us in the communities online as well. You'll be able to, you could come into our Telegram and ask us questions at any time, and we'll definitely try to help as much as we can.
All right. Any of these people are they have they doxed themselves? Are they out in the public, or who are these team members?
Public in the sense that we're using our
Sure.
identities that we use on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I revealed myself first, followed by Toshi Flow, who has been he's worked with Liquid Loans early in their promotion and work. Also has been working with Magic Carpet Ride to create the Magic Toshi Ride, which is their pool for the Liquid Loans sacrifice. And he just recently presented a deeper dive into our Pixel Park NFT marketplace, which is one of our exciting projects that will be coming to the Pulse chain.
Cool. So if I understand this correctly, and maybe you can explain to the audience and give me a better understanding of DAOs. Admittedly, I mean, I know what DAOs are from a 30,000-foot view, but how is this going to be implemented? How is it like the Olympus DAO? Like, talk to me about DAOs generally speaking.
Sure. Olympus DAO was created by a team who, they kind of revolutionized DeFi. If you think back into about 2 years ago, when Uniswap first launched, they revolutionized DeFi as we knew it on Ethereum. And suddenly, everybody was forking Uniswap everywhere, and it was kind of what we called the summer of food farms, because you had Sushi Swap and Pancake Swap, and everything was based on a food, and everyone was copying the same model, and they were all decentralized exchanges with all that, and implemented the same automated market maker code that was just copied over and over and over again, trying to do the same things. Olympus DAO did the same, had the same impact on DeFi, where they turned the model upside down, had a central treasury that would allow people to stake their token, but could grow the treasury through a process called bonding. And that bonding allowed the treasury to purchase assets that it needs through selling discounted tokens. So in the case of our PowerCity core, PowerCity will sell discounted Watt tokens that you can then stake for additional yield. And in exchange for the assets that the core needs, like Pulse or USDL or liquidity tokens.
Let
So
me
it
ask,
can buy.
how's it discounted? That doesn't make sense to me.
So let's say I'm just going to make this up. There's no promises of future value. This is only for examples, right? But let's just say Watt is $1, right?
Hmm.
So if I want to go buy Watt, I can go to Uniswap or PulseX, right, and go
Hmm.
swap for Watt at $1 rate. Or I can come into the core and I can buy a core bond by which would then allow me to buy it at 80 cents per watt. So it'll actually sell it to me at a discount if I sell or give the core an asset that it wants. So let's say we want to build up liquidity for Watt tokens. Perhaps you can then add to the liquidity pool on PulseX and take your LP token, which represents your share of the liquidity pool of, say, Watt and Pulse paired together, and then sell that to the core. And then now the core owns its own liquidity for its own token. And that's revolutionary, because normally all these protocols that require other people to put up their capital to provide a liquidity to be able to trade through their token, you have to keep rewarding them over and over and over and over and over again forever, just to keep people interested in putting their capital up as liquidity for your token. And they tend to be rather fickle. Liquidity product providers will go where the returns are, right? And if you're not just constantly rewarding them, they're not going to stick around. But if the protocol owns its own liquidity, you're no longer competing. And now the protocol can now decide how much liquidity it wants to maintain. It can also decide that it's going to earn the fees from providing that liquidity and put that back into that core treasury, right? Now extend that into our idea of a synergistic ecosystem of DApps. If you say, okay, the core will now also raise funds that will allow us to then build and deploy the transformer cross-chain swap, well, to bridge across one chain to another, right? You need liquidity pools on either side to be able to trade in and out of the bridge token. Well, that liquidity can be owned by the core, and the core will then again earn all the fees from the liquidity that is used to bridge assets and value from one chain to another. Will also earn the fees from the bridge itself, right? So we look at building these tools together. We give you one place where you have to stake, which is the core. The core then funds and builds and launches these other applications, which then will feed or share their revenue back into the core, which then powers the staking rewards, for the Watt token, as well as helps fund buyback and burning of the Watt token to make it more scarce over time.
Okay. So just help me understand this. And if this is not a question that you can answer, just let me know. That's fine. We'll move on. So I'm kind of curious about how the liquidity pools on a DEX are different than the liquidity pools in the protocol. If somebody buys it at 80 cents and it's worth $1, is the protocol subsidizing 20% of that, or how are you able to do that?
So the active bonding and staking is inflating the token, right? So that's the way that the Olympus DAO is designed. But
Okay.
Olympus DAO had a different goal in mind, where they wanted to inflate the token significantly so that eventually the number of tokens will match the value of the treasury that backed the token.
So
Um,
it's paid in inflation. So, okay, so it's an inflation mechanism. So,
it is
okay,
an inflation
okay,
mechanism, and the difference is a lot of the other DAOs were implemented to have very, very significant high annual percent yields. These APY rates of 100,000, 1,000,000, 1 billion% APY. They were inflating like crazy, and they a lot of people flock to them because high rates of return. Of course, they're not sustainable, right?
hmm
And even by design, it was never meant to be a permanent high level of return like that, right? Ohm was designed to just kind of coast down into a 1-to-1 ratio and be a reserve currency. That was their goal. We believe in the technology that drives Olympus DAO. We want to apply it differently, though. We are designing ours to not to have a much more sustainable and competitive yield, but definitely not in the 100,000, 1,000,000, 1 billion% APY range. Something that more reflects the actual yield that is being earned by the treasury from the other DApps, or where the treasury, the core, will invest in other DeFi applications, that the income, the yield coming into the treasury will match what is being paid out through the rebasing paid to stakers. And rebasing is just basically staking that is automatically compounded for you without you having to click claim and restake every day. Right. So rebasing actually does it all internally and actually allows you to get compound interest, not just regular interest, but compound interest, just by staking long term in the protocol.
All right. Are you guys privately funded? Are you fully funded? Are you having a sacrifice phase? What's this look like?
There is a sacrifice phase that is coming up in early March. We just announced the sacrifice rules, and so we have a video that just walked through it, and we have a little bit of information we can share. We'll be posting that on our website soon as well, but it's also shared on our Telegram. Um, of course, with a sacrifice comes a political statement. And our political statement is the right to free enterprise. We believe in a market where we have choice and option and the ability to choose between products and to have a diverse marketplace. We strongly believe Pulse Chain is not designed just to support one project. It is meant for a myriad of projects to be running on a new, cheaper, freer chain, right? And all of these things that want to build on Pulse Chain are required for the success of the chain. And I know there's been a lot of drama in the community recently, but in reality, if we don't build on Pulse Chain, Pulse price is not going to go anywhere, right? We need a usage, we need adoption, and we need to drive people to the chain with things that they want to use, and hopefully we believe that PowerCity will have tools that they will want to use, and that will also add value to Pulse Chain as a network. So the uh, like I said, we will be starting Sacrifice in early March. It will extend through whenever Pulse Chain launches. So as a kind of open-ended, we don't know exactly the date of Pulse Chain launch. Only Richard Hart knows that. So that we will start sometime in early March. The exact date will be announced soon. Go through when Pulse Chain launches. Sacrifices made from Avalanche, Phantom, Opera, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon will be recognized for Sacrifice. And many of the top liquid coins on those chains will be identified as recognized for Sacrifice from those. So the exact list will be posted closer to the actual beginning of the event. But the idea is, a lot of wherever we're trying to come to you. We're trying to make this as fair and open and easy for people to participate in as possible, right?
Okay.
That's the goal of having a broader list of things. The nice thing is when we do start, the sacrifice points will start at 2 to 1. So you will actually get 2 points for every USD value that is sacrificed. And then starting every 2 days, it will go down by a quarter point until on day 9, it is a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, why, you might ask, why is this not a 10,000 to 1 ratio like Richard Hart did? It is based on the inflationary nature of the Olympus DAO code, right? The core will inflate the token to meet the value of the treasury that backs the Watt token, right? We know that Watt will then inflate over time, and then once the other dApps are launched and we start buying back and burning tokens, only then will we be able to kind of balance out that inflation with the buyback process. So we don't want to start with a massive number of tokens and then inflate even further, right? So we start smaller and we give ourselves room to grow, right? That's the whole idea.
Okay.
Uh,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, no volume bonus, so there's no need to pull together, and the 1-to-1 ratio extends all the way through to Pulse launch.
Okay. So you don't have a picture on your profile. What type of assurances can you give people who may be sacrificing to this project that you are who you are?
That's a great question. The PowerCity team will be going through a third-party KYC process with a team called Assure DeFi. Hopefully you've seen them around. A lot of other protocols have been doing this. Is where the team is going to go through a KYC process to just assure that we are real people, and that if anything were to happen, that information is on file with a third party that can release that to the authorities. So it is a reputable service that has served many other protocols out there, and it is something that once we have our website up and running, we will complete and then have that posted out there as well for people to see. So it won't have my my home address and my social security number out there for everyone to see, but you get the idea. It'll be a badge saying that we've gone through the process, and we've worked with Assure DeFi to complete this. So
Okay, so you've got a third-party company that's going to verify who you are through social security number. What they'll have that information. If you do something stupid and you rug pull everybody, they'll release that information to the authorities.
correct. So, and since we have no intention of doing any of that, we are standing behind our project, and we'll be completing that. Now, maybe there's a day where we come out publicly with names and faces and whatnot. At this point, definitely respect everyone's privacy on the team as we work through and build everything out. Recently we started revealing who we are in our day-to-day IDs, right? So I came out on our video with Magic Carpet Ride first. Toshi Flow announced his participation in the team. We also have Triplet Dad and Hextrovert Ty from the Magic Carpet Ride as well, and more to come. So.
Okay, cool. So we've got PowerCity, which is essentially the core, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, you said, the Transformer Bridge, which is Avalanche and Phantom. Is that it'll tie into those chains?
Yeah. So in order of preference, I think it would bridge to Avalanche first, then probably Binance Smart Chain, then Phantom, and then Polygon, Ethereum, and so on. And the reasoning for that is we know that Richard Hart is building a bridge to Ethereum, right? And we're not looking to directly compete with that. And this is not meant to wrap your tokens onto Ethereum as wrapped versions of your Pulse coins, which is what that bridge is doing. Transformer is intended to be a cross-chain swap. And the goal is to provide the cheapest route to get value onto Pulse chain as possible. And if you look at folks who are in the States or work with Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, or even KuCoin and some of these other centralized exchanges who list Avalanche, you can use those exchanges to go directly from fiat to Avalanche, switch your Avalanche to MetaMask, right? So move it to your MetaMask wallet, and then use our transformer to swap directly from Avalanche to Pulse on Pulse Chain.
Okay.
So basically giving you like a two-step process to get from your fiat onto Pulse Chain and avoiding the crazy fees on Ethereum.
Interesting. Okay. All right. That makes sense. So talk to me about the technology that you're going to be using within this ecosystem. Is this going to be proprietary, or are you guys planning on forking existing open software?
It's a combination of the two. As I mentioned, the PowerCity core is based on the Olympus DAO code. Will be customized. The bridge is a combination of things we're not ready to announce yet. And some of the other projects that we're building, are rebuilds, like the Pixel Park NFT marketplace, right? It is not a fork of OpenSea. You can't fork OpenSea, but it is a rebuild, a recreation of OpenSea and some other extra features just to spice things up, such as NFT staking. So that will have new capabilities above and beyond just the NFT marketplace, where you can mint, trade, and sell NFTs. There's also, for Pixel Park, some interesting announcements we're looking to make soon about NFTs that will have unique DeFi characteristics. So, while there's plans to work with artists to create really unique and interesting artwork for NFTs, there's also plans to work with companies to build NFTs that represent real estate. The ability to swap actual physical investments through NFTs. The ability to use NFTs to represent actual nodes that are being created and provided as support for Pulse Chain, things like that. So we have a lot of ideas on how to add actual real value to NFTs above and beyond some of the current uses. So some exciting stuff coming there.
Okay, and one thing that's important to some folks, you mentioned that you're a Hexagon, correct?
Yes, I am. Been in Hex since right before Big Payday.
Right before Big Payday. And if at some point in the future the community said prove it, would you be willing to send me and only me one hex to prove that?
Sure. If we can wait till Pulse Chain launches first, otherwise the gas would kill us. But
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
of
Okay.
course.
All right. So let's check this out. The transformer bridge we touched on, and you had mentioned, I think you mentioned the NRG. Talk to me about NRG, nodes as a service. What's that all about?
Sure. Every blockchain needs nodes. Nodes are servers that maintain an entire copy of the blockchain data. And they're different from miners or validators who are responsible for writing the transactions to the blockchain. They're the ones who actually, write the new data, saying, yes, I traded from this coin to that coin. I staked into this contract or not, right? The nodes actually just provide a copy of the data, but they're critical because of two reasons. One is securing the network. They secure the network by maintaining multiple copies of that data, immutable data across many, many different servers, right? And the more servers and the more copies of the blockchain data that you have out there, the more that would have to be altered or faked or hacked if you wanted to fake the data or alter the data on the blockchain, right? So it just becomes more and more exponentially difficult to do this. The more nodes you have that are maintaining that data. Also, every DApp needs access to the blockchain data to be able to read information, to process transactions, to get your balances, what's in your wallet, and everything else. And if everyone's hitting the same node, you're going to have really, really crappy response times. So instead, there are services like Infura on the Ethereum side that they set up a whole bunch of servers and nodes, and they actually sell access for developers and dApps to be able to have high quality access to node data to run their applications on, say, Ethereum. There's also other projects out there like Strongblocks and whatnot that are trying to encourage people to support the creation of these nodes to help secure the network and also make more capacity available for these dApps to access that data. So we know Pulse Chain will be new. We know that there are some people in the Pulse dev chats that want to do their own nodes, but the problem is it requires a certain amount of knowledge and infrastructure and server and hardware setup and software maintenance and things like that to do it right. So we want to build a service that basically pairs together people who want to help pay to set up a node and maintain a node, a good quality node that has solid uptime, is kept up to date with all the software changes that might happen on the network, and is constantly synced with the data on the network, and be able to keep that in well maintained order and sell that server capacity to developers and dApps that need it on the back end. So it's kind of creating a decentralized marketplace of sorts that will pair those two together and allow people to then provide that node service to the people who need it. So it's a little bit different than how Strongblock or Thor nodes or Power nodes or some of these other projects on other chains are doing it, because we're actually trying to pair the two together, right? The people who create the nodes, who will be earning a steady rate of return for providing that service, with the people who actually want to buy access to those nodes, who need it to run their applications. So we're really excited about this. It's a great infrastructure project that will help the health of Pulse Chain, but also create opportunities for people to build up some passive income if they want to invest in these things.
Cool. Thank you. And this is a reminder to chat. If you guys have questions that you want me to field to the long vacation here, please post them in chat and we will get to them. Talk to me about the yield compounder, the accelerator.
Yeah, this is one we're really excited about because it's designed to, among other things, help automate some of the exciting strategies that have been developed in the liquid loans community to leverage the liquid loans pulse lending protocol, right? So, for anyone who's been paying attention to liquid loans, you probably heard it about the Haunted strategy or some of these other strategies where you can leverage your pulse to borrow USDL and then buy more Pulse, and by leveraging that through the upswings in Pulse price, you will then grow your bag significantly faster than if you were to just hold and wait, right? Um, that requires you to go in and check prices every day and make decisions every day on whether you go to compound or take another loan or whatnot. Our accelerator yield compounder is designed, or will be designed, to be a custom front end to liquid loans once they publish their SDK, and will allow us to automate a lot of these processes so that you can kind of put it on autopilot, right? So we're working through the design right now, but the idea is that you would be able to create your own vault and tweak the variables so that it will basically take new loans and maintain a collateralization ratio set to your risk appetite, and will run those compounding strategies for you, hopefully building your bag as as the post price goes up in value.
Would these be
So
templates or these would just be values that you can adjust on your own?
the strategies would be predefined, and there might be some variables like what your
Right.
your collateralization rates that you want to maintain. Just how much of a dip in price are you willing to withstand? Basically, is what that's trying to say, and the protocol will then try to run that automatically for you. Theoretically, we'd love to expand that to other DeFi platforms on Pulse Chain as well. Maybe to eventually compound PulseX staking or liquidity providing on PulseX, where you're earning the yield farming reward token that has yet to be named. So we think there's a lot of opportunities out there as more things are launched to slowly expand into other compounding strategies.
Cool. Now, I noticed that you guys, when I was reading the light papers, you're talking about metaverse, right? Or metaverse type things. What does that mean to the chat first and foremost, and then why do you guys think it's important to include it in your project?
Sure. Metaverse is just, I mean, you can make the argument that what we're doing right now is in the metaverse, right? We're interacting digitally from other parts of the world. And whether it's through text or video or audio, we're all participating in this together in one community. Metaverse and our intention is to create a 3D online environment where we can do the same things that we're doing right now in a 3D representation of our Power City. And Power City is a real 3D model, and eventually you'll be able to walk the streets and explore different areas, meet with your friends online, play some games with them, or just hang out, do business, training and teaching courses, and I mean, you name it, all kinds of experiences as a group, right? All the same chats that we're doing in Telegram, you can do in an online environment, right? It's just a different way of experiencing it. But we will be incorporating not only access to all of our dApps through the 3D metaverse, but also incorporating our NFT marketplace in there, so that NFTs will be able to be used within the metaverse. So again, adding more uses for these existing technologies.
Okay, so based on what we've talked about for the past 35 minutes, if I'm going to conceptualize what you guys do and put everything together in my head, you could tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like it sounds like your project's essentially a construction company for blockchain ecosystem. Am I correct in saying that?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, PowerCity is trying to help build an ecosystem on Pulse Chain that will, like I said, add value, right? We're trying to add value by making Pulse Chain, stronger, more secure, and allowing you to get to it faster and cheaper, and to be able to do, interesting things on there, right? That's the goal, is to make this a place where people want to come, and want to participate and bring value from off chain on chain, right? Because that's how we're going to succeed, by bringing more people in. So, we want to build a reason for people to come and enjoy. Now, obviously, Rome wasn't built in a day, and all the ecosystem won't be built in a day. This is a long-term roadmap that we have in mind, and so not everything will be there on day one. Our first focus, like as I mentioned, is the core, and then Transformer and the Pixel Park. So these are our primary things to try to get out the door first. And then, the energy nodes, the accelerator, those will come. Obviously, Liquid Loans is going to be launched about a month or so after Pulse Chain goes live. So, there will be a little delay there before the accelerator would be able to be launched anyway. But the good news is that, for the sacrifice for PowerCity, anyone who participates in our sacrifice that also participated in the sacrifices for Pulse Chain, PulseX, Liquid Loans, or the upcoming sacrifice for Internet Money, they've shown, those wallets have shown that they are helping build the community and the infrastructure around Pulse Chain. That we will, in our sacrifice, will recognize those wallets with additional bonuses. So, something different. But if you have a wallet that also participated in all four of those other sacrifices, could earn a maximum bonus of 55.55%. Which, if you're in Hex, I think that number might be meaningful for you. And then if you did participate in the Magic Carpet Ride, Magic Toshi Ride, or the Legion VC pools for PulseX or Liquid Loans, the participants of those pools will be recognized as well if they participate in PowerCity.
Cool. So before we wrap up here, is there anything additional that you would like to add that we did not touch on?
One thing you asked about was the third party KYC. We will also be working through audits for each of our products that we launch. Even though the code that the core is based on has already been audited, Olympus DAO, and once it is live and running, we will be working to get our own audits. Just bear with us, audits take time. So they might not be there on day one, but it's something that we will be working on for each of the things that we launch.
Cool. And before we get off here, and this is actually probably the most important part of this interview, and before I can let you go, you have to tell me a joke.
Oh, nothing like being put on the spot, huh?
Dude, you better come up with a good one, and you might need to Google it. We've had people Google it before. I'm not letting you off.
All right, so guy passes away, and he goes to the afterlife, and he's walking around, and he ends up finding out, well, he needs to go to the southern state instead of the northern state. So he's walking around in hell, and the devil says, okay, well, you get to choose where you spend your future. Says, okay. Says, well, here's 3 doors, you get to choose where you go. So he goes and he opens the first door, and he sees a bunch of people that are they're on all kinds of torture machines over coals and racks and whatnot. It's like, you can spend your eternity here if you want. Say, no, thank you. No, I'll pass on that. It's like, okay, let's try the next door. So he goes in the next door, and he opens it up, and there's people that are just covered in snakes and reptiles and bugs crawling all over them and whatnot, just like freaking out, screaming and everything. It's like, no, 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 I do not want to be there. It's like, okay, all right, well, let's try the last one. So he opens the last door, and there's a bunch of people standing around smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, waiting around about, waist deep and poop, right? So I was like, all right, well, that smells awful, but it's like, I can smoke and drink coffee. Like, all right, okay, so I'll do this one. So okay, so he goes in, pours some coffee, bums a cigarette, takes a hit, and all of a sudden over the loudspeaker you hear, all right, everybody, break's over. Get back on your heads.
Oh, no. Dude. I mean, that's creative. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you. That's far more creative than what I would have said. Just chicken across the road to get to the other side. That's where I would have went. But awesome, ladies and gentlemen. That's that. The long vacation. Long vacation. Tell everybody where they can find more information about your project.
Fantastic. You can catch us at t.me/PowerCityIO. And then later on this week, we'll be launching PowerCity.io website. You can check us on YouTube as well. But all those links and Twitter as well are in our Telegram. So come check us out. Ask us any questions you have. Like I said, we have a large team that is ready to just help out in any way that we can while we're very busy working on everything. We definitely want to be in touch. We also want to hear from you. If you have ideas, if you have suggestions, we love to hear from what people want to see on Pulse Chain. There's no shortage of ideas, but we definitely want to see, like, hey, are you guys going to make something like this, or maybe something like that, or why don't you use your token to do this instead? We love to hear that kind of stuff, and most importantly, come and drop in some memes. We love a good meme. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you coming on. And just to let everybody know, no compensation was given for this interview, financial or otherwise. And everybody stay frosty. I'm out.